This is the Mahindra XEV 9e, but this one has the 59 kWh battery pack, which has an MIDC claim range of 542 kilometers. And Mahindra claims that the XEV 9e with the 59 kWh battery pack will go between 380 to 420 kilometers on a full charge. But today, I'm going to be testing its range. For that, I have to first charge the car, and every time I charge an EV, I always get an error. Setting up charging is so time consuming, our charging infra has miles to go. Anyways, I juiced up the battery to 100% using a 60 kilowatt DC charger, which gave speeds of up to 58 kilowatt till 80%, dropping slowly from 37 kilowatt after 80% to 11 kilowatt as it reached 100% state of charge. Just LFP battery things. Meanwhile, the onboard computer showed me a range of 296 kilometers, which would stretch to 345 kilometers without air conditioning. Now, this is obviously dynamic and bases how the car is being driven, and I was giving it the beans earlier. For this range test, I am obviously going to keep the AC running throughout, as it's afternoon with an outside temperature of 36 degrees. I first hit the highway, accelerating steadily and cruising between 80 to 100 km per hour. I then decided to drive a bit in the city as well. So, after a days of driving, the range I got from this car is 354 kilometers with an efficiency of 6.6 kilometers per kilowatt hour. So, in the real world, expect somewhere between 320 to 380 kilometers depending on your driving style. Obviously, when you're not giving it the beans. Somehow, paying rupees 1.87 lakhs more for the 79 kilowatt hour battery pack makes a lot more sense because you go an additional 90 to 120 kilometers per charge. This 59 kilowatt hour pack 2 with the 11.2 kilowatt charger costs rupees 27.1 lakhs, while the same variant with the bigger 79 kilowatt hour battery pack costs rupees 28.97 lakhs and returns around 450 kilometers in the real world. The MIDC claim being 656 kilometers and Mahindra's claim being 500 kilometers. Anyways, this is the pack 2, which is the mid variant of the XEV 9e and has lesser buttons on the key, the parking ones being missing here. It does look quite similar to the Pack 3 with a full width light bar for the DRLs at the front and connected taillights at the rear that have a welcome and goodbye animation. Heck, even the headlights do a nice welcome animation and the indicators have the dynamic swipe function too. If you use Instagram, Facebook or WhatsApp, I have good news for you. Because the Meta logos at the front and rear continue to be lighted up on the Pack 2, so does the one on the steering wheel. The front bumper has active aero curtains which open and close automatically, while the 19-inch tires look big and the alloys have a decent design. The XEV 9e has a coupe design with a sloping roof and thus skips a rear wiper washer. It does get a high-mounted stop lamp and a quirky shaped rear spoiler. But the biggest problem of this coupe design is the inside rear view mirror, which although auto-dimming is completely useless, as the XEV gets a proper center headrest that completely blocks the rear view and there is no camera on the IRVM, something which even Tata is offering now in the Harrier EV. Step inside and you will appreciate how feature loaded even the mid variant is, with not one, not two, but three 12.3-inch high resolution screens. The leftmost for the passenger has plenty of apps to play with, while the rightmost instrument cluster shows you driver assist and navigation functions among other things. It also has a nice goodbye animation and changes colors as per the drive modes. The infotainment screen is the highlight though and is loaded with plenty of stuff including a plethora of apps like Alexa and EcoSense that scores your driving and also coaches you to be more efficient. And because it has 5G connectivity, you can also stream YouTube videos in the screen. But internet data is limited to 20 GB per month. It also has onboard navigation which tells you what will be the state of charge when you reach your destination. Neat. There's a performance menu which in off-road mode shows you a compass, tire direction, battery and altitude of the vehicle, while in the racing menu it shows a lap timer, G meter and output from the motor. Since this is an electric car, gimmicks are part of its DNA, with something called Groove Me, which does a light show but it only works outside in the Pack 2. As this variant doesn't get ambient lighting. Another gimmick is Live Your Mode, which has sounds tuned by A.R. Rahman, and depending on which one you choose, it will make changes to the moonroof sunblind, driver's seat, infotainment screen, music, and also the instrument cluster. But the gimmicks don't stop there. You can also choose between multiple sounds for both inside and outside the car, and there's something called Race and V8 Tribute as well. Yes, there's a speaker on the outside for this. What? Other features include a rear parking camera, which although has multiple views, has poor resolution, level 2 ADAS with 10 features and 1 radar similar to the XEV 700 and Thar Rocks, wireless phone charger, 6 airbags, downhill assist, electric parking brake, auto hold, hidden door handles at the front and rear, push button start, automatic headlights, automatic wipers, solar glass, seat welcome movement, steering adjustable for both reach and rake, front and rear parking sensors, but the front has 4 and the rear has just 2 sensors. Well damped handles on the inside, the driver doesn't get it though, a panoramic moonroof, yes it's fixed and doesn't get ambient lighting like in the Pack 3, Android Auto, but Apple CarPlay is somehow missing here, height adjustable front seat belts, physical buttons on the steering instead of touch ones, 6-way powered driver's seat with 2-way lumbar adjustment and memory where you can save up to 3 people's seat settings, and a fantastic sounding 16-speaker Harman Kardon audio system which has studio, 3D and live sound experiences. The AC is a chiller. It's a dual zone one, but with no physical controls to operate it, can get very frustrating to use. There's a panel with touch buttons right below the center AC vents though, but the panel itself moves a bit when you press the buttons. Thankfully, some physical buttons have been given right behind the gear lever, but aren't very intuitive to use. The Pack 2's interior gets a darker shade with the seats getting a different diamond design pattern, and while quality is good in most places, there are a lot of hard plastics lower down on the dashboard. Now, let's talk about space. The XEV 9e gets a big frunk that can take up to 60 kgs of weight and is 150 liters big. Weirdly, there's insulation on the hood even though there is no engine or front motor here. The glove box doesn't get the cooling function but has a strap to secure your papers. There's another shelf on the top. There are twin cup holders in the center console, a cool storage under the sliding armrest which also has a key tray, a phone holder ahead of the wireless charger, big door pockets with the front ones also getting umbrella holders, twin cup holders in the rear center armrest, a mobile tray below the rear AC vents, tablet mount in the front seat back with 65-watt USB charging ports on each side, but the front USB-C charging ports aren't fast enough. The boot is massive at 663 liters and you can fold the rear seats down in 60/40 format to boost the luggage carrying capacity even further. There's a dedicated space to store the parcel shelf and charger, but the spare wheel isn't an alloy and is smaller sized at 135/80/18. But the Pack 2 misses out on a power tailgate and the tailgate is heavy here.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
The rear seats are comfortable. You can recline them for added comfort, and while leg room, knee room and foot room is good, under-thigh support isn't the best and headroom is average for someone as tall as me. You are also seated a bit high, which is good because the window line is high. Also, driver's side sun visor should get a mirror. Only the co-passenger side gets it, but the sun visors are extendable, which is a neat touch. One big USP of this car are the doors. They open 90 degrees. Take that, Tata Ultros! Makes it easy to get in and out, but you need Kanun ke haath to close the doors from inside if you open them completely. So, the Pack 2 has got good amount of kit, but if you pay rupees 3 to 4 lakhs more for the Pack 3, depending on the battery size, you also get a faster processor, 360-degree parking camera with live recording, blind spot monitor, more comprehensive ADAS with 5 radars, 7 airbags, heads-up display with augmented reality, ventilated front seats, sun blinds for the second row, leatherette on the doors and dashboard, boss mode, rear wireless phone charger, auto park assist, one-touch driver's side power window, ambient lighting and adaptive suspension among other things. Alright, it's time to start driving. Let's turn on the vehicle. silence and that welcome sound comes in. Straight away, let me come into the best drive mode, which is obviously race. Let's turn off the air conditioning. I hate how everything is inside this touchscreen for the air conditioning system, and then I have to go and then turn it off from here. Come on, this could have been a lot better. Now, traction control has to be turned off as well. ASB system off, left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator. We come into drive, hazard lights off, and off we go. Yeah, it is sort of raining right now, and that's the reason we are hurrying up the 0 to 100 km/h acceleration test. 0 to 100 km/h takes 8.3 seconds, which is obviously slower when compared to the 79 kWh battery packed version, because the 59 kWh battery pack has a smaller electric motor at the rear, or a less powerful electric motor you can say, because it makes 228 horsepower. Meanwhile, the 79 kWh battery pack vehicle has 281 horsepower, so 53 horsepower less in the lower battery, because I don't know why. I think it's to do with the fact that with more power the battery would deplete faster, so they're like, let's give a smaller battery so they're not able to suck the juice out of the battery fast. Anyways, this panel is so much like what we see in Tata cars, and it's a fingerprint magnet and also collects a lot of dust and particles, so yeah, it's not that great. And the horn, that's also not great. It could have been better, but making quick overtakes here is just seamless, because this car produces 380 Newton meters of torque. So the torque output is the same as the bigger battery, which is good because it feels very punchy. Instant rush of performance because massive torque, 380 Newton meters. It has a rear electric motor. It's rear wheel drive, but doesn't really feel rear wheel. Oh, look at that, the wheel spin. So it doesn't really feel rear wheel drive in that sense, because it does not have the conventional rear wheel drive characteristics of oversteer. In fact, if you push it hard, this car actually understeers. That's kind of weird. They've tweaked it in a way to be safe so that people don't oversteer and crash here or there. And the ESP system will automatically turn on at 60 km/h. So even if you turn it off, no problem. It will automatically turn on at 60 km/h, which is there in almost every Mahindra car now. I don't know why they do it. It kind of ruins the fun. So now, in terms of performance, obviously it's seamless. Even though it has lesser power, you don't really feel it unless and until you do outright acceleration, 8.29 seconds. Otherwise, the bigger motor, you can call it the bigger motor, the bigger battery, also is much faster. It goes from 0 to 100 km/h in 6.8 seconds. Yeah, that's quick. Top speed, I think this would be lesser. That one hits around 200 plus km/h. This one should do around 190 or something, but doesn't really matter where will you hit those top speeds. But if you do, this car is very stable at higher speeds. Low center of gravity, heavy car, heavy battery, LFP battery, BYD blade cells, amazingly dense, fantastic packaging, and it feels very good to drive somehow, which is kind of surprising, because the push from this engine is why am I saying engine? From the electric motor is nice, from the rear wheel drive, rear motor, all that amazing here, fantastic, good grip levels as well. However, the ride is not as great, because this one, the 59 kWh, or rather the Pack 2, does not get semi-active dampers, so it gets passive dampers, because of which the ride isn't that great, because the semi-active dampers, they react in 15 milliseconds. Here that reaction is not there, so it's just the way it is. But the ride quality is still actually very impressive, because this car is able to manage even the worst of potholes without much hesitation. It glides through the worst of roads, so ride quality is good, suspension is very nicely set up, and high speed stability is also good. And in spite of all this also, and the weight, it still handles quite well, because body roll is very well contained here, and the steering, it also weighs up quite well at higher speeds. So I'm in race drive mode right now, which gives me the full punch. There are 4 drive modes. There's a snow mode, there's the everyday, there's a range mode, and then there is that's the everyday mode. So this is the default mode. Yeah, there are so many modes which can be confusing, because at least they've not called it zip, zap, zoom here, and they've just called it everyday, range, race, and default. But in case you're in default drive mode and you're like, you know what, I need the punch, I need instant performance, so you don't have to press a button here, go in this screen and do all that. There's a boost button here. For 10 seconds it gives you full output, meaning that you can make quick overtakes. You don't hesitate here. Even with lesser output, you don't feel that the car lacks any punch, because 0 to 100 in 8.3 seconds is actually faster than any other and every other Mahindra car. That's how quick even the smaller output motor is, which is fantastic, and that's the advantage of electric. Now, so much torque, 380 Newton meters coming instantly. Firstly, the motor is very silent. You can't hear the motor whine, you can't hear anything at all. It's smooth, it's refined, tire noise is well contained, suspension noise is very less, wind noise is less, so insulation levels are also fantastic. This is a car which is very smooth to drive. It's easy to drive as well, and around the corners you will really enjoy the way it goes, because the balance is fantastic here. The weight can't be felt, which is quite amazing actually. And look at the way it holds its line beautifully here. Phenomenal. Yeah, Mahindra is absolutely cooking these days with the dynamics of its vehicles. But then, because this is obviously having a huge battery, you would expect it not to be very dynamic. And honestly, it's a heavy vehicle, it's top heavy as well, but you really don't feel it, because it's not a car you would really push hard and fast on the corners. But when you do, you're not going to be disappointed at all. Now obviously, if I press this boost button, it will give me the full punch. So here we go for 10 seconds. Come on, give me the boost. What are you waiting for, bro? I'm asking for the boost. Yeah, there it is. 10 seconds of full boost. Yeah, full power, and I've left the throttle. Still the boost mode is activated, so that's a nice touch right on my fingertips. And using these paddles now, I can change the regen modes. So there are 3 regen modes. Basically, level 3 is obviously going to give you what? Well, let me just try that. Yeah, the maximum regen. And it's not one pedal in level 3, one pedal. There's a separate button here. So if I press this button, one pedal drive is on, wherein the car will come to a halt as well. Fantastic, really nice, really smooth as well. Yeah, push is amazing. Even in the lower modes now, you don't feel that this car is lacking in any way. The only problem is if I try to turn on the camera now, it says park camera could not be opened due to high speed. You know what's the highest speed according to the car? 20 kilometers per hour. When I'm reversing at a speed of more than 20 kilometers per hour, the reverse camera shuts, and it comes with this warning, which is weird, because come on, you can't be so restrictive. Let's take a quick U-turn here. Look at the steering, it's so light, and the tires are screeching because there's so much torque going in. And here, I'm not applying brakes, I'm just leaving the throttle, and with regen, it's coming to a halt. Yes, it comes to a complete halt, because that's how one pedal works. There, it stopped very fast. It's smooth. That's very nice. In fact, let's do the brake test. Hazard lights on at 70 kilometers per hour, 80 kilometers per hour. Let's step on the brakes. A little tire noise, but it stops sure-footedly. Okay, let's test the 0 to 100 km per hour acceleration again, and off we go. The road is wet, so it's not going to be as fast as I believe it to be. Well, I expect it to be, but trust me on this, I have done 0 to 100 km per hour in 7.55 seconds now, which is quite quick. So it's not much slower when compared to the more powerful motor, and you don't even feel it, because acceleration is really very seamless here. Now the battery comes with unlimited kilometer lifetime warranty, which is just amazing for the first owner only. So if you manage to sell the car, the second owner is going to get 10 years or 2 lakh kilometers, whichever happens to be earlier. Now the regen brakes, they work fantastically well, and the transition between regular or conventional friction brakes to regen is smooth, because this car has got something known as brake by wire, which obviously really helps here to make the whole experience seamless. Now this car has a ground clearance of 218 mm, which is decent enough. You don't have to worry about the battery getting affected or whatever, because obviously it's highly tested, tried and tested, and is quite amazing. Now this car is having independent suspension, but because of the lack of semi-active dampers, you can feel the movement is slightly bit more at high speeds over expansion joints on the highways and all those things. So you can feel the movement is there. So that's the only gripe of not having semi-active dampers, and that's one of the major reasons why you would actually want to opt for the Pack 3, because obviously that offers a better ride quality. What is this, bro? That's crazy huge. Well, that's what she said. Now, whenever you turn on the car, it says MAIA. What does that mean? MAIA. It actually means Mahindra Artificial Intelligence Architecture. So Mahindra obviously throws in a lot of fancy words, like the platform is known as Inglo, and this car can charge from 10 to 80% in just 20 minutes using a 175 kilowatt DC fast charger. Well, that's the fastest it can charge. Let me turn off this one pedal driving thing, and also let me turn off the regen, because what's happening right now is the car is slowing down and I need to accelerate over these potholes. And there you see the car actually feels quite robust, and that's quite nice. And then you don't have to worry about oversteering at all, because Mahindra understands Indian conditions. Not the best to have too much power going to the rear wheels, which it does, but then obviously stability control intervenes to ensure that you do not go drifting or sliding or out of control as well. Now when I've turned off all the regions, now performance has actually become very seamless and very sure-footed and easy going as well. It punches nicely, it pulls very sure-footedly as well, and the performance is quite seamless without any regen. Now you just feel like you're driving a regular car. Obviously because it's electric, the instant torque gets to you unless and until you get used to it, and I don't know how 2 drops of rains fall and roads keep getting broken all the time. That's a bit of a problem in our country. We really need SUVs now. Look at that Wagon R right in front. That is somehow able to manage that, but trust me on this, our road conditions really need like a lot of ground clearance, which thankfully most Mahindra cars are offering these days. And now once back onto the road, I just get into the throttle, like even part throttle, you can see how much power I'm putting, and it just pulls in seamlessly. So yes, performance is something which is actually very impressive in spite of the deficit of 53 horsepower here. Which actually brings me to, one second, let's actually clean the car because it's become super dirty thanks to the rains and on-off mud and dust and all those things flying. So yeah, now the thing is, with this car you obviously get subsidy. I'm not in favor of subsidies because your money and my money, the taxpayers' money, is being used to reduce the prices of electric cars for people who want to buy EVs. And how is it my fault? Why should I be paying for someone else's car? I just don't understand the logic of getting subsidy. But it also is a testament to the fact that EVs are not as great as ICE products, and that's the reason why subsidies have to be offered. See, at the end of the day, you obviously give some benefit to products or a concept which is not as strong, and EV as a concept isn't as strong, because I'll tell you something, I've been driving this car day in and day out. I've been doing range tests and all, and it kind of makes me sick because I have motion sickness. Okay, usually cars don't make me feel sick. If I'm sitting on the passenger seat, I might feel sick in any car, but if I'm on the driver's seat, I usually don't feel sick. But in an electric car, continuous torque rush, fast ahead, behind, and all those things, they actually make you a bit nauseous. In fact, it's not me who's saying it, there's a study about it. So you're better off with a Scorpio N or a Thar Roxx or an XEV 700. But Mahindra's like, these are not the cars which we feel are the alternative to this one or the BE6, because we feel that the market is so small that we have to pull Creta customers, we have to pull Innova High Cross customers to this particular car. Otherwise, we'll not be able to sell in as many numbers as we are targeting to. And I'll tell you something, the hybrid is a fantastic idea, which I honestly feel. I think the Innova High Cross is a phenomenal car. But I feel people who are buying a Toyota or a Hyundai or a Creta and all of these cars, they don't even look at electric cars or even don't look at Mahindra, because the Mahindra buyer is someone who wants crazy features, who wants to be the first mover. Meanwhile, buyers of Toyota cars and Hyundai cars, they know they're paying a premium. For what? For the peace of mind, for tried and tested technology, not new technology. And if you're the one who's looking for new technology, then this is a car which really appeals a lot, because they filled it to the brim. And how? The Pack 2 is priced quite attractively, but I feel one should opt for the bigger 79 kWh battery pack for the better range. Well, you see, the price difference between this car and the Pack 3 is rupees 3.14 lakhs for the 59 kWh battery pack with the 11.2 kW charger, while the price difference between the Pack 2 and the Pack 3 for the 79 kWh battery pack is rupees 4.33 lakhs. Yes, the top variant of the XEV90 doesn't come cheap at rupees 33.3 lakhs, but you do get a lot of equipment for your money. And yes, it is the most expensive Mahindra car on sale currently. Do note that all the prices I've mentioned in this video are on-road Mumbai, and if you are in Maharashtra, you get rupees 1.5 lakh subsidy. While in places like Bangalore, EVs above rupees 25 lakhs incur a 10% lifetime road tax, and that's where the Pack 2 59 kWh makes a lot of sense, as the Pack 3 Select with the 59 kWh battery pack costs rupees 6.21 lakhs more thanks to the tax structure. Ideally, Pack 3 Select is the variant to buy because it misses out on some ADAS features, and ADAS isn't very useful in India. But the problem is that the Pack 3 Select is only available with the 59 kWh battery pack. Mahindra is offering 15 variants of the XEV90 including charger options. So yes, it can get a bit confusing, but you're buying a car which is priced between rupees 20 to 30 lakhs, which is on the expensive side. You're not buying an Alto, so go right ahead and buy the top trim, because that offers the best bang for the buck according to me. And when you're going to take a loan, the EMI difference will be so marginal, you won't even realize that you opted for a higher variant. And on that useful consumer advice, it's time to end. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, that's the like button, and also subscribe to the channel. And now I will go and drive a V12 engine car. Bye-bye.